friends, let's talk about Diablo 4. Now, the game right now is in closed beta for friends and family, and it's under heavy NDA. The video will get taken down if you talk about too much stuff. Blizzard Entertainment is like the Full Metal Alchemist, the law of equivalent exchange. For everything they do good, they must taketh away something of equal value. Diablo 2 Resurrected. A gift from the god. And some absolute dung beetle decided that Diablo Immortal was a good idea. So it's safe to be skeptical about Diablo 4. It's a very healthy thing to do, especially with Blizzard Entertainment right now. So I want to give you a warning in advance. This video is going to get very sweaty, and it's not because it's hot in the studio. The technology in Diablo 4 is significantly better. The best example of this is in the previous games. When you use an ability or a skill, it triggers a location from the ability and does the damage. What they've done now is they've assigned an object with collision to the abilities. Perfect example of this is the Barbarian Swing. When he uses his axes, it follows the animation. So this is a really good improvement. It keeps up with modern day gaming, so you don't have to worry about breaking points for those of you who got into the real nitty gritty of Diablo 2. So with Diablo 3, the art style is borderline pushing on World of Warcraft, that classic Blizzard identity, whereas Diablo 2 was very realistic and very gothic. But a lot of people get caught up with nostalgia when it comes to Diablo 2. That game was extremely bright. It was extremely vivid. Think about Loot Lane, the deserts, all of the abilities are very, very bright. So with Diablo 4, they've desaturated pretty much the entire game. This is a step away from both titles. I think this is a really good direction for the game. Now, in Diablo 4, they've done a fantastic job of creating the classes. The only thing that kind of gets me is I think the rogue's a little bit boring in terms of design. That's not a crime to say. She's just a little bit of a boring character. It's a Diablo 1 character that they brought back, and it plays almost identical to the Demon Hunter. That's the role that it fits. The other class is the Druid. That is a little bit off. So in Diablo 2, you can choose the Werewolf or the Werebear, and they're their entire different skill paths that you can take or builds. In Diablo 4, they've kind of combined it together. You're jumping in and out. Would have been cool if you could just do a Werebear or a Werewolf. Again, it's just a personal preference. Now, the gameplay is exactly what you would expect from a modern RPG. They're keeping up with the times, video games like Lost Ark and Path of Exile. If you remember in Diablo 3, you would just rerun the bosses over and over again. The same with Diablo 2. Eventually, they introduced the Rift system into Diablo 3, which was a wonderful, wonderful feature. But in Diablo 4, they're taking it to the next level. You've got big instances that you can do as groups. You've got all these different dungeons. It's just a modern action RPG, guys. They're stepping up with the times. They're keeping it relevant, and I think it's good. I'm going to tread carefully with this. So even with my peanut brain, as soon as they announced the auction house in Diablo 3, I knew it was a bad idea. And the reason why it's a bad idea is because when you have millions of people playing a video game, getting items to trade, what happens is you create what's called hyperinflation. So there's no sink for the items. There's just more and more stuff. And it short circuits the gameplay experience. In other words, you can pretty much get the best gear in the game within 1 week of playing without even spending real money. And the further you go along, the better the gear is. The cheaper it gets, the worse it gets. Unfortunately, no fix for this problem exists in any video game available today. Has not been done. Diablo 2 has a third-party forum called D2JSP that you trade on. The issue that I have is I really, really enjoy the trading aspect of the game. It's fantastic, but at the same time, it absolutely kills the momentum of seasons and ongoing content, which is a part of the appeal with Diablo 4. So in other words, there's no fix, right? No fix. So all they did was they went, nah, you guys blew it. Too bad. No trading. That's it. Is it a solution? No. Is it the best of two lesser evils? Yeah. Yeah, it is. So this is a hot take. This is not going to be a popular opinion, but I know this to be the truth. Diablo games are essentially, they're gambling games, guys, right? It's a poker machine, but for items, and they've made it way more fun. I have absolutely no problem with this because it's a game, right? It's a video game. The only issue I have is when you link it to a monetization system. So if there's a way to pay for these items, then it becomes a serious issue. So here's an even fucking worse hot take that if it's cosmetics only, fine. That's awesome. Because if you want to spend your money on a cosmetic item that you do not like or you feel pressured into buying, then this is your responsibility, right? This is a social judgment that you're making. So you're like, hey, I want to impress people with my cool cosmetics. It doesn't affect the game loop itself. So it doesn't make you stronger, give you an advantage in any way, shape, or form. They giveth, they taketh. Let's see how the business model turns out. Because if there's a slight advantage, for example, 20% more movement speed on a mount, that's massive in Diablo. That's 20% more efficiency with movement speed. That's a huge thing. Diablo 4 right now looks great.